This is a Mova Globe. It's one of the neatest things I have in my office, in my opinion, because it's got so many interesting aspects. The most noteworthy is it's rotating continuously, and what makes it rotate? There's no motor in the base, there's no wires coming out, and yet it rotates all day. I first saw it in a gift shop in Maine several years ago, and the clerk said it was solar, but he didn't seem to know anything else about it, so I wasn't sure whether solar was actually the case. But it turns out it is solar, but that doesn't explain how it's working. I was so intrigued by it when I saw it in the gift shop that I went back to the motel and looked it up on the web, but couldn't find out how it worked. So that was a reason to go back the next morning and purchase it. And since I still couldn't figure out how it worked, I decided I would get a hold of the patent, since the brochure that came with it said there was a patent that covered it. And so I got a hold of the patent, which is here. And fortunately, there is a diagram in the patent that explains how this works. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's notice something first. If I pick this up and then move my hands around, what you notice is that the globe is rotating independently of where my hands are, because there are actually concentric spheres. I'm holding a clear plastic sphere. The globe is inside in a separate sphere, and the two spheres are separated by a liquid. But that doesn't explain how it works. If you look inside the patent, there's a diagram that explains how this works. So here's what it looks like from the outside with the map. Inside the inner sphere is a couple of solar cells, so the clerk was correct, it is solar. And attached near the top of the inner sphere is a motor with a shaft coming out of it that is powered by the electricity generated by the solar cells. Now you would think that the solar cells would make the shaft rotate, but one of the beautiful ideas in this design is that doesn't happen. Because if the shaft were to rotate, since it's not vertical, and being not vertical is essential, since it's not vertical, if the shaft were to rotate, let's say 180 degrees, the center of mass of this weight would rotate over here, which is higher up and would be resisted by gravity. Since action equals reaction, and since the liquid bearing means that there is very little friction, what happens when the motor turns is that instead of the shaft rotating, the weight keeps the shaft immovable, and the whole sphere rotates in the opposite direction. I think that's very clever.